Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavitvaram. We completed the chapter 16 in the previous session. Chapter 16 was about the saintly and sinful traits. Who are those, or what are those characteristics, traits of a saintly person, and what are those which are of a sinful person? In that, Lord Krishna had given very clear idea to us about how a saintly person will maintain certain values while interacting with the world, and what happens to a person who continues to cultivate or continues to uphold wrong values and sinful traits. Towards the end, he said, the basic guidance for us to live a noble life, useful life, purposeful life in this world comes from Shastra, because the goal that a spiritual being has is unknown presently. To reach the unknown, which is also at the same time very much present within us as our own being, our own self, though unknown, it is so close to us. And realizing which alone one is truly free in this life, in this world. Guidance comes to us from this manual known as the Shastra. Having listened to this, Arjun had a doubt, and he was to ask Krishna about the nature of faith, what is known as Shraddha in Sanskrit. The very word Shraddha, Shrad Dadati iti Shraddha, that which gives you the absolute truth. And therefore, he was to ask this question: if a person has got faith but does not follow the scriptures as instructed in the scriptures, what would be such a person's destiny? But before we go into that, let us understand what is faith. Now, we have three things that in our life which demands what we know as the faith, but there are three terms for that: belief, trust, and faith. In general, people who are following any religion, they begin their journey with belief. That is to say, based upon the tradition, religion, and culture, belief is built into the mind of a person from the very early stage of life. If the family is a Christian family, Muslim family, Jewish family, or Buddhist or Hindu, if it is a religious family, they would have inculcated certain ways of behavior, worship, prayer, celebration, observances. All these things are built into the very life of the family. And most of the beliefs a religious person would follow remain untested. But it is followed because the family believes in that. Also, the environment or the society in which that such a person grows or the family is located also supports certain belief. If you are living in India, the Hindu land, where certain traditions and practices, behavior, values, religious observances, festivities, when they are seen to be practiced by everybody around you, you naturally have no questions about it. Because they are basically mainly depending upon the sentiments and emotions built into that. When you go to a temple, you obviously go and offer the flowers and do a Shashtanga Namaskar or a full prostration in front of the Lord, or light the lamp, chant some mantras, prayers, sometime roll on the ground or go around the sanctum. And there will be some puja going on. You stand there witnessing that. And when the priest finishes the puja, then he comes out and offers the prasad, maybe some chandan or tilak, and then you wear that on your forehead, receive the prasadam with great humility. It will be very little, and then you eat it with great reverence. Sit down there for a while praying, or if there is a festivity going on, participate in that. So all these things are unquestioned. Why am I doing? Everybody does so. Also, there is a lot of emotion involved with that, because the deity whom you are worshipping is connected to the family. It is your grandfather, your grandmother, your great-grandfather, your own parents, and your relatives, your uncles, and everybody is connected to that kind of a tradition. So you don't question this belief. So this is called a samskar, an impression that is created in the mind of a young child from the beginning of the life. And such a child, as it grows up, it continues to maintain that without asking much questions about it, because there is a comfort zone there, comfort level there. Everybody is doing, so I am also doing. There is no question that needs to be raised here. But then the child, as it grows to become a teenager, a young man, goes to the university, maybe probably change the country also. And then when the study of science and other subjects, mainly on scientific basis, rationality, questioning, trying to understand with proof when such kind of a stage starts to take place in the life of the young man, such a boy or a girl would start questioning beliefs and more begins to believe or have trust in the scientific reasoning. What is scientific reasoning? It is about facts, known facts and proven theories. And many of those known facts and proven theories given by the science are not your own personal experience. They are taught to you in the university or in the college, in the school, and you have got enough documental evidences. And therefore, the science of the reasoning is accepted. And slowly, such a boy or girl would start wondering about the very belief that he or she had about God, about the religion, about the tradition, about the sentiments, about the culture. And the parents back home or here itself, they get shocked because they never believed that the boy or the girl would turn out to be like this. But it is inevitable because scientific reasoning has overtaken the blind belief system. Everything is questioned. Why should I go to the temple? Why should I fall on the floor? Why should I go around the sanctum? Why should I observe certain traditional fasting and feasting? Though the behavior of the person with respect to the people may not change, but the relationship he or she has with God will undergo a dramatic change. So the reasoning and rationality takes over, and the sentiments and emotions take a back seat. So this is the growth which we find in the case of the generation. Every generation faces this, and most often the parents are very challenged. They do not know what to do with the child because the child is questioning everything. Now, unless the young man or a girl, young man or a young woman, having grown up with such reasoning, etc., given up the belief, turns to spirituality in the form of questioning the reality of things from the higher standpoint, with the help of the scriptures, one would remain as a skeptic. One will remain merely with the dry intellectual questioning without really trying to find out the reason behind all those belief systems. Now, understand, it began with the blind belief replaced by scientific reasoning, and the same scientific reasoning, when properly answered, such a person will start developing faith. Based upon the respect and reverence on the source of knowledge, the faith builds up. Though God will still remain as an unknown, but the proper source of knowledge, when it is acquired, it will give you ways and means to experiment it. Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita are not merely instruction books. Thou shalt not do this, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not lie. It is not instruction-based teaching. It is inspirational. Makes you think, makes you experiment in your own life to find out the truth behind those teachings. Any teaching can be of two types: instruction or inspiration. If it is instruction-based teaching, it is only training the mind. If it is inspirational-based teaching, it is making you think. Training the mind for a discipline of doing. But thinking mind will emulate, inculcate, internalize into the life. It is not just following certain do's and don'ts. And as that individual starts to recognize that what I have earlier out of scientific reasoning rejected has a validity, has truth in it. Earlier it was just a belief. Then I have started to misunderstand it. Now I understand. This understanding, the depth of understanding, is what is called faith. All of us have gone through that. Individually, I am also a product of such a behavior. When I was in the early part of my life, I just followed what my parents have told me to do, never questioned anything, going to the temple, doing the puja, or participating in various festivals, etc. And then when I went to the university, I started to question everything, and then moved away from religion. I had nothing to do with the belief system. But then when I started to understand Vedanta from Gurudev and great teachers like him, I understood that there is so much of detailed explanations are given about everything. Why we worship, what is the purpose of worship, why do we offer flowers, why do we chant the mantras, how the karma works, how the prayer would work, what is meditation, all those details scientifically explained. So belief is about religion. Trust. You trust science. Even in relationship, you need to have trust with each other. If you are having a friend and with whom you have shared many, many things, slowly, because of the understanding of that person, you start having trust. But faith is about not with the person, not with some blind sentimental beliefs. Faith is about the unknown, but very much realizable reality, the truth, which is one's own real nature. And the faith is born out of experimentation of the truth. And then experimentation of the truth, that faith leads you to experience of the truth. That requires a reverence, respect to the source of knowledge, whether it's a teacher or a shastra. One must have a reverential attitude towards that teaching and then proceed on to experiment it, only to finally experience what is said in this shastra as one's own personal vision. Now, Gurudev had also explained it very well, many places. We also see the word trust is used in our currency itself. If you take a dollar note, it will be written there, in God we trust. In God we trust. And in India, it is not about trust. It is about complete faith in what? Satyameva Jayate. Under the three and then the four lions symbol, you'll see this Satyameva Jayate. What does it mean? Truth alone trumps. The faith is what? Faith is in the truth. Not any personal God, because there are so many of them. But everything represents, all gods represent the truth only. In that truth alone is our faith. That is even in the government, even the administration that administers the entire country has got something to fall on, or to something to depend on, based upon which alone they proceed in doing whatever they are doing. Gurudev has said, faith is believing that which you do not see, resulting in seeing what you believed. The science always says we believe in what we see. They need proof for everything. So, seeing comes before believing. If I see something, I believe that it is. But seeing here does not mean whatever is reported by the eyes alone, by thinking also. I see sunrise, and therefore I am very clear by the very fact that I am able to see the sunrise. So every day sunrise takes place, and every day sunset also takes place. This is what many years back, people have believed in that sun rises, sunsets, meaning what? Sun is moving. But further scientific inquiry proved that sun is not moving, earth is moving. Though that is not what I see. So seeing is believing is questioned, right? Because somebody in the past did not believe that sun moves. He did not believe that. So he decided to find out what is happening, really speaking. Is it sun is moving or earth is moving? So on scientific reasoning, even the science does not believe seeing is believing. Whereas even science has moved on to hypothesize the possibility of something which we don't see. So a statement of fact will be realized as true only when I have a faith in the source of that information. As we see in the science, the field of science also, when many people believed that earth is flat, and many thousands of years, people have believed that earth is flat. But then when did they discover that earth is not flat? When the theories first came, nobody believed it. How can it not be flat? Then slowly experimentations have been done. Even the rockets and satellites have been made. And then when human beings started to travel outside this earth and come to know, yes, it is not flat, it's a globe. See, when science has declared that the earth is a globe, you are believing in it, right? You have not seen it. So are you believing or seeing it? You believed. You believed, and because that is the truth, though it is not your own personal experience. The science also begins with the hypothesis and trying to find out whether it is true or not. All scientific facts that we know today began with a certain hypothesis, assumptions on the part of the scientist, only to experiment and find out whether the hypothesis is right or wrong. So believing had led to seeing the truth. So, but when they tread on, want to find out what they have hypothesized is true or not, they needed to have faith on the means that can prove it to them. They believed only this many stars are there, whatever is perceived by the eyes, twinkling on the sky. That many only are there. This many planets alone are there. But then they slowly, when they discovered the powerful telescopes, and then when through that telescopes, when they started seeing up in the sky, millions and millions of new things started to be. I mean, they started to see that what they did not see before, now they started to see. Why? They started believing in the means of knowledge. The telescope is a means of knowledge. New planets were seen. New galaxies are found. Earlier, that was not seen. So can you say seeing alone is believing? They believed that there could be more. And based upon their belief, they built the telescopes. And through the telescope, when they saw, they started to understand that what we believed, that there could be so many other planets and stars could be there, is true. There could be water in Mars. It's a hypothesis. Let us go and find out. They built the system. They built the rockets. And the aircraft, the spacecraft started to travel there, explore it. So even science does not merely settle down with seeing is believing. They start to believe in something which is more than what the eyes could meet, and believed on that. Believing on that, they built the methods to know it. In the same way, we presently believe this physical body alone am I. I believe that this alone am me, and this is alone is I, and every one of them are only mere bodies. And we also know this body behaves according to the mind, which I don't see. You don't see my mind. I don't see your mind. But I know that I have a mind because I'm thinking. So that is not seen. With the eyes, I cannot see that. So what cannot be seen must be believed in. Yet, there are many people in this world who still hold on to the fact that only seeing is believing. So this means to prove that the means to prove is known as pramana in Sanskrit, which means proof or testimony or evidence. So the pramana, the word in Sanskrit, is used to show what is the way to know. Like if I'm opening my eyes and looking at a flower, my eyes are the pramana for the flower, meaning through the eyes alone I can know the flower. With no other instruments or indriyas or sense organs, I can understand the color or the form of the flower. Ears cannot do it, nose cannot do it, tongue cannot do it, hand cannot do it. I need a specific means of knowledge to know a specific characteristic of a thing. If I don't have eyes, I have no idea about color or shape of a thing. So these eyes, this pair of eyes, they are pramana for flowers, color, shape. So with the eyes, I know the color and shape. With the nose, I know the smell. With the tongue, I know the taste. With the hand or the skin, I know the texture. With the ears, I know the sound. So only 5 sense organs are there present in us, through which we come to know the world. You mean to say an object only have these 5 characteristics? If it has one more characteristic, one more dimension to it, how do I know? Because I don't have the instrument to know it. Only form, taste, smell, touch, sound. Only 5 aspects of a thing I can know. But if there is a 6th trait, a 6th quality in an object, how do I know it? I don't know the existence of the 6th or 7th or 8th or 9th in the object because I don't have the means to know it. Just because I don't have the means to know it does not mean the object does not have that trait. Think. If a blind person is there, let us say a group of blind people are there, and in front of them you put a beautiful rose flower, very bright and brilliant and blossoming flower. Now they can explain the nature of the flower in whatever they can. They can smell it, they can taste it, they can touch it. But the flower's color and the shape will remain unknown to them. Whereas you, who is also there, who has eyes, will know more than what they know. Because you have the faculty of seeing. In the same way, what is unknown to us today is known to those who have developed a faculty. And that faculty through which, when they have understood that what is unknown to us, they declared it in the Shastra. And that very unknown factor, for you to know, you must develop the same way, the way they developed the faculty, a particular means to know. Until then, you must have the faith in what they have said. If I go into that go to the group of the blind people and say, there is a beautiful color and shape to that flower, they have no idea what I'm talking about. What are you saying? Color? What is color? What is shape? I have no idea what you're talking about. Obviously, they cannot comprehend that. In the same way, when the Shastra says that your real nature is pure existence, consciousness, and bliss, which is unknown to us right now, known to those who have developed that ability to see it, it will remain unknown if I do not have faith in their words. So unless we have pramana shraddha, truth of the known cannot be discovered. Even in the court of law, unless proof is provided, judgment cannot be finalized. What is the pramana? What is the proof? So that is the reason why Bhagavan Krishna has said, Shastram pramanam te. Shastra is the pramana. Upanishad is a pramanam. For Brahmanaha, Atmanaha pramanam. This the proof for the Atman, or proof for the existence of Brahman, Upanishad is a pramanam. So a little child, let us say, is afraid of darkness. And there is a power failure, darkness everywhere. And the child starts to cry. If you go and tell him that, don't worry, when the power comes, everything will be all right, the child will continue to cry. Why? Because he doesn't trust you. Why should I trust you that when the power comes, everything will be all right? He will continue to cry. Now, that very child, whereas the mother of the child comes and she says the same thing, the child becomes quiet. Why? You tell me why. Who is saying? She also said the same thing which you said. You said to the child, when the power comes, it'll be all right. Very soon the power will come, everything will be fine. That child doesn't trust you. Though you made the same statement, and the mother also made the same statement. So it is not only the statement, but who is saying that? Therefore, Shastra also is valid only when it is authorized by the spiritual teacher, the Guru. There are so many things are there written. But only a person who has experimented and experienced what is stated there, when he or she says that it is true, it becomes authentic. Otherwise, like the child, you may listen, but will not move forward. Why? Because you don't believe in the person who is saying that. So understand, therefore, again, to understand from where we began, belief is based upon sentiments, emotions, traditions, culture, religion, community, etc. Trust is on scientific facts, theories, hypotheses, and also based upon the conviction one has on the scientific rationality. Faith is based upon the trust in the source of knowledge, Shastra and Guru, about the unknown, which is not one's own personal experience, but because of the fact that it is proven and experienced by the people who are making that statement. Therefore, an individual can also experiment those very teachings and come to realize the truth of it in one's own life. This journey is called faith, from the belief to truth. It's a long journey. That which is worshipped and adored as God in religion is truth in philosophy. Both are timeless and changeless. They are one and the same, viewed from two different standpoints. When a person goes to a temple and looking at a particular form of God, he believes that that particular form is God itself, to which he will offer all his worships and prayers and chanting mantras, offering the fruits and other things, treating that as a human, a living being, as having human form, no doubt. That's what a priest does in the temple, treating like a human being, giving bath, offering clothes to wear, chandan and kumkum, alankar with the ornaments, feeding the food, everything, as though that one who is standing there in the temple altar is a living being. Don't you do with your dog? Don't you do with your cat? Do they ask anything? No. Even if they ask, you do not understand what they are asking. So, but you take care of that very dog or a cat or any pet you have, feeding it and cleaning it, etc. So God is, I'm not saying the God is like a pet, but what I'm saying is a priest in the temple treats that very form, even though made of some stone only, but invoking the God's presence in that very form and treating it like a living person. The faith and the reverence with which that person would offer everything to that God is filled with the devotion. So God in religion is built on the individual's belief of its existence. The same very God whom you worship as a form in a temple, philosophy says that very one is there in you as your own being, the inner core of your own being, which is truth, absolute, which has no form. And in the same way as you treat the Lord with reverence in an altar of the temple, so should you have a reverential attitude towards your own higher self. You will become a living temple. You will become a moving temple with the living presence of God in your own heart. You're carrying God with you all the time. You must have a same devotional, reverential attitude towards that presence in you. This is what Vedanta philosophy is trying to tell us. Unto him, our life should be dedicated. And then as you come closer and closer to recognize his constant presence in you, it's that very path with which you go, proceed on to realize his presence completely within yourself is called the faith, the journey. So for a devotee, faith in God is unarguably important because it is by that faith she is able to establish intimate relationship with God. The constant intimate relationship a devotee has with God is maintained by that faith. Whereas for a person who views reality as the truth, that is nameless and formless, does not embark to have a relationship with it, yet his pursuit will not begin even without having a firm conviction that truth is and faith in pramana. For him, realizing the truth is the goal. Not merely adoring and praising and singing. No, I want to know. I want to reach the Godhood, not just near the proximity of God, but I want to be that very God's nature. So therefore, accept the source of knowledge, follow with patience, and consistently experiment. The journey is like this. First of all, you accept the source of knowledge, Shastra. Follow it with great patience as guided by the teacher. Consistently experiment in your daily life. And the result of which is reach the destination and remain grateful to the source. Whether it's a teacher or the Shastra, you become definitely grateful to the source, because without which you would not have even started the journey. So in this chapter, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, Bhagavan Krishna would start explaining what this faith is all about. So the three-step process: accept the source with reverence, follow it with patience, practice it continuously. Then only the final destination can be reached. Now the question raised by Arjuna is very peculiar here. He says, what if one does not follow the guidance of the scriptures, does not engage in the disciplines prescribed, rejects the norms followed by others, fully adheres to what is instructed by those whom he respects, follows the guidance that appeals to his rational intellect? In other words, it is a case with most of us. We don't have a direct access to the scriptures. We have not read it ourselves directly, let us say. And we do not know what are the do's and don'ts. What are the things we should do? What are the things we should not do? That is all given in the scriptures, but we do not know any one of that. Many times, we don't follow the instruction book. We only follow the others who are moving from in front of us. Like if you are going on a road, in a highway, in a freeway, let us say that you are driving. Most of us drive in the same speed as the previous one. Correct? If the guy in front of us is going 100 miles an hour or 80 miles an hour, you also go in 80 miles an hour. And the fellow behind you is also coming in 80 miles an hour. If you start becoming 60 or 50, fellow behind will honk. What happened? And when you are reducing your speed, and he also has to reduce his speed. Because why are you reducing speed? Because the fellow in front of you has reduced the speed. Let us say suddenly the car in the front stops. What will you do? You will also stop. The fellow behind you also will stop. Now you wonder what happened, and you stick your neck and out and then look at it. Before you, many cars have stopped. You have no idea what has happened. Then you look at the news, etc., and then there's an accident there, and therefore. So even in the practical life, what we find is we just follow what has been done by everybody. So here, we do not know why, but we do it. So as I said in the beginning, religion is about going along with what the community of people are doing. But the person who independently thinks, he would not merely follow what all others are doing. In the example of driving in a freeway, you cannot help it because you cannot get out. Had it been India, immediately he will go through, get out of in some other sideline and go out and then go into another street and get out. But in a freeway, you cannot do that. If you are in a two-wheeler, you can easily manage your way through and then get out of the place. But if you are in a car, so Shastra is giving us the idea about what to do, what not to do, but we don't have access to it. So here you must understand, Arjuna is not implying that people following the faith do not believe in Shastra, but not having the access, however, they do not have the access. Most of us do not have the access to Shastra or the instructions directly. But what we do is Vriddha Vyavahara Darshana, following the principle practiced by the elders or those respectful ones or men of wisdom, those who engage what is their condition. Meaning, they are not directly following what the Shastra is saying. See, when you go to a temple also, you do not know what the priest is chanting most of the time. And then he will say, come on, repeat. When I tell you, just repeat. And then he will say certain mantras, you just blindly repeat. If you see in the marriages also, the most of the time the bridegroom does not know what he is uttering, even saying. It's all Sanskrit. So the Shastri or the priest says, okay, whatever I say, you just repeat. Right? So because you believe in that person who's saying this, you don't know the Shastra directly. So Arjuna is saying that if someone believes in a guru and does not even know what the Shastra says, just believes in his guru because he has a great faith in it, just like the child did not believe in your words, but the mother's words. Why? Because he believes the mother than you, though both of you are saying the same thing. Similarly, a person who believes in someone whom he reveres, respects, like a guru, and he says, come on, do this way. So he has faith, all right, but not on the scriptures. Faith is on the instructions or the guidance given by his own guru or somebody whom he believes in. Your child goes to the school and learns certain things every day. So you as a father would be very eager to know what the fellow has understood. So you ask the child coming back from school, hey, what did you learn today? Math. Oh, math. Okay. Did your math teacher tell you what is 1 plus 1? Yeah, I know. What is it? 2. Very good. What is 2 plus 2? The fellow repeats 4. Very good. What is 10 plus 10? That fellow looks at it. What do you mean by 10? 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. Then 10 plus 10 is? He has no clue. Why? Because he was not taught. He has gone up to 4 only. 4 plus 4, 8, 3 plus 3, 6. That much only you know. Beyond that, he doesn't know. So he looks at you, what is 10? See, the thing is because he just followed the teacher. Even though his math book will have 10 plus 10 is 20, but he has not come to that point at all. He has not even gone to that point, gone to that lesson. So even though the Shastra says, but he does not have the ability to independently read and understand what that is. He's waiting for his teacher to tell what it is. He has a faith in his teacher. And indirectly, he may have a faith in the scriptures. But if the teacher does not tell, I don't know. Or if the teacher says 10 plus 10 is 30, he would believe that than what the book says at that stage of life. So most of us are at that in this category where we have followed the gurus, the teachers, who no doubt have learned the scriptures, and we believe that they do not say anything contrary to it. But we don't have the direct access to the scriptures. Most of us have read Upanishads only from the commentary of Swami Chinmaya, correct? Have you gone really to the original source where the original documents are there, and then opened those written in the palm leaves to look at what is written there? No. Whatever is printed by the CCMT book or Chinmaya Mission, that is what you consider as Upanishad, correct or not? Did you go to the source? No. What is your source? What is taught to you by Swami Chinmayananda? So the question raised by Arjuna is, somebody who has not followed exactly what is said in the Shastra, but follows what is being taught to him by those whom he respects and reveres. And earlier you said the faith in the Shastra is important for us to move forward. This person who has a faith in only in what is taught to him or her by his own people of reverence, then he says, will he belong to Sattva category of Rajas, or category of Tamas? Can we consider him as Sattvic, Rajasic, or Tamasic? What does he belong to? This is the question Arjuna has raised in the beginning of chapter 17. It is interesting that first of all, is there a question you should come into your mind? Can faith also will have three different qualities? Sattva faith, Rajasic faith, Tamasic faith. I thought faith is only one. No, faith also is of three categories. Sattvika faith, Sattvika Shraddha, Rajasika Shraddha, and Tamasika Shraddha. That's why the chapter's title is Shraddha Traya Viveka. Shraddha Traya, Shraddha Traya Viveka. Yoga. Shraddha Traya Yoga, to be precise, the name of the chapter. So Krishna would answer in this chapter, what would Sattvic Shraddha mean, what Rajasika Shraddha means, and what Tamasika Shraddha means. And where do these Shraddha originate from, and what are the characteristics of those Shraddhas, faiths, and what would lead to what. We'll see more of it in the next session. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkhabhat Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om.